We are back. Welcome back to Series 3 of The Hair Show. My goodness, have we missed you all? But there's been lots and lots going on. So many of our regular faces and community, you're all here. So who we got here? Let's just have a quick look in. Well, first, big shout out has to go to Lee. Welcome back, Lee. Great to see you here. Colette, former guest of the podcast. Good to see you here, Colette. We got Nicola there. We have Jez Barnett there. We have Pivot Point UK and many more of you. So we're going to be giving you plenty of shout outs. So what are you watching? Well, you are watching the Hairdressers Show. Yes, this is the show for the hair industry where we cover so much content. So look, many of you saying it already. Remember to like the hell out of this and share it all over Facebook. Let Facebook know that you guys are watching it. Get your comments in as well, because that is really what makes this show. And we've got a new look for you tonight. Yeah? What do you think? These new frames, are you liking that? Yeah, you're going to see lots more of that. We've got much more. But the most exciting thing coming up is we have some guests that are going to start coming into the show. So are you ready to see what is coming up in tonight's show? Well, let's have a look. So coming up on tonight's show, I'll be shortly joined by, of course, our gorgeous co-hosts Georgia Bell and Jordanna Cabela. They're sat right there in the green room. I can see them. Then we're going to kick off with Jordanna's World Hair News. Yeah, she's been picking some stories for you. And tonight, this one I am so excited by. We're joined by our very, very first special guest of the show. Yes, Series 3, Mark Maciver. Slider cuts. He is huge in the world of barbering. Mr. Motivator. Legend of a barber icon. He's on the show. He's sat there too. He's watching in. And don't miss the first of our new videos called Salon Boxers. Tonight we go in the chair, yes, with our two lovely girls. So be sure to stay tuned for this. We are so excited for it. The adrenaline's pumping. Are you pumping it? Are you feeling it? Well, I hope so. So we're going to bring onto the screen, yes, our two co-hosts. So give them all the love hearts that you can. Jordanna Bell, Jordanna Cabela, and Georgia Bell. Let's get you. That's adrenaline kicking in.
Yeah,
Jordanna Bell, Georgia Cabela. There's.
I might as well be together and
it's excitement, it's nerves. How are you both, ladies?
Really good. It's so great to be back and to see all your familiar faces and your comments coming through. We spent the last 4 weeks really preparing for the next series and to bring you some really new, exciting content. So thank you, guys.
Yeah. How are you, George?
Really, I've just moved my camera. Really good. Like really busy. Like I literally kind of got in like 10 minutes before we started this. But yeah, things are really good. I'm just so pleased to be back at work after another uncertain time, another month off. You know. So, yeah,
let's have a quick shout out again, just to see some of our comments. And Mary's here. How you doing, Mary? Hi all. Should we make those just a touch bigger? Let's see. Can we do that? There we go. I think that looks nicer when it's. Let me pull that in. There. Yeah, Mary's here. We have Sarah there. Hiya, Sarah. How you going? Hi. Good to see you all back. Julie. Yes, very cool. You're liking the overlays. Hiya, Heather. Lee. Dom's got an auto cue. I've got lots of all the gear, no idea, as we've said. But yeah, we've got so much. Ryan, you guys are back. Yes, Monday nights, it feels good. The show is going to be different, isn't it, Jordanna? We've got different things going to be happening now.
Yeah, definitely. And we've listened to you guys. So we're hopefully bringing you content that's a little bit more bespoke to what you guys want.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to do that. We're going to head off into our first bit, which all our regulars will know is Jordanna's World Hair News. So again, it's got a new look out, so a new look to this. So let's go into it. World Hair News.
Welcome back to the World of Hair News, where we bring you hand-picked stories from all over the world in the hairdressing industry. Now, the first topic of tonight's World of Hair News is the British Hairdressing Awards. Now, this is literally like the Oscars of the hairdressing world. The best of the British talent take part in this competition. And last week, we saw the 36th year of the British Hairdressing Awards being held virtually for the first time. Now, the good news is that this means we had viewers from the UK, but also from all over the world tune in for the very first time. And we want to extend our congratulations to the very talented Sally Brooks of Brooks and Brooks, who took home a trophy for the third time as British Hairdresser of the Year. So huge congratulations to Sally. We will be seeing some of her collections later. We also had the lovely Rylan presenting the awards, who is absolutely adored by the hairdressing industry for his absolute charm and for making us all laugh. So thank you so much to Jane Lewis Orr and of course to Schwarzkopf Professional, who sponsored the awards. It was a fantastic evening, and huge congratulations to all the finalists. Now for news topic number 2, we have done some research and we have looked at some of the hottest trends that we'll be seeing in colour for 2021. And the first is chocolate chestnut brown, which is the comeback of the one-dimensional all-over global application of a chocolate brown colour. Now, the good news is that this is going to be very easy for clients to maintain at home by themselves using toners, but also something a little bit simpler in the salon, thank God for us colorists. And the second trend that we're going to see a little bit more of is something known as sombre, which is basically short for soft ombre. And this is all about seeing your hair fade from a very rich chocolate into a warmer brown sort of chestnut. So you're only getting a little bit of two-dimension lightness and darkness. Again, something really easily achievable, particularly when we're seeing clients with balayages or old highlighted pieces. So something so simple to achieve with a toner. And the third look that we're going to be seeing next year for a colour trend is a slightly different take on the money piece, because I think a lot of people have wanted to see the back end of the money piece. But actually, this is now a little bit more of a modern version where it's a chunky highlight. So I guess this is going to be a little bit softer, but it's taking that influence from that chunky money 90s stripe that we saw so much of this year. So really exciting year next year for colorists, and those were the colour trends for 2021. And the third topic of the news this evening is all the way from Spain, actually. 20 Spanish parents have actually taken out legal action to a Spanish pharmaceutical company for actually mistakenly giving their children minoxidil, which is a hair growth hormone, rather than the right medication for stomach ulcers. So this Spanish pharmaceutical company has mistakenly given them a hormone to actually promote hair growth, which has unfortunately seen these 20 children develop a condition called werewolf syndrome, where excess hair grows all over the body and the face. So at the moment, there's an ongoing investigation and a court case for that. So let's see how that goes. But what a nightmare and what a mistake to make. And that's all from us from the world of hair news. I'll see you next week, guys, for some more exciting news topics.
Loving the news there, Jordanna. Delivered
Thank
that
you.
really, really good. Some great comments coming in. The trends, by the way, yeah, well, that's an interesting one. Shiny hair.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's always an exciting time to be a colorist, but we always, when we look at trends and forecast them, it does take a little while to see them in the salon, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see how long it takes for the clients to actually ask for them, because by the time they ask for them, it's literally like a year has passed. So yeah, exciting
Yeah.
time to be a colorist.
Now, we've got to go into it. Congratulations, George. Sally Brooks, British Hairdressing Awards.
Oh, it was amazing. I really actually, I loved it this year. I loved it being virtual.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I just jumped in there. So let's just bring up those images of Sally's. Let's have a look at them.
Love them.
What do we
fantastic.
think today?
Love them.
Yeah, well, everybody, do you like those looks?
And
Now,
I think I actually know, Dom, that she used like bargain hair for this as well. So that the entire shoot was so cost effective for her. But the results of it is so amazing. Amazing.
I really think that for me, this collection shouts out about the resilience. It represents the resilience we all had as hairdressers and as an industry to get through the toughest times. And Sally mentioned that in her speech as well. Because obviously, hair shoots are so expensive to do and to run. So she actually called this collection "What the Fuck," because she wanted to shoot it on mannequins and using hair that was more cost effective, like Georgia said. And look at the work. She still showcased her artistry, and it's been picked up and appreciated by a lot of people, and that's why she won.
Yeah, I mean, everybody is absolutely loving those images. Did you watch the night as well, George, of the awards?
Yeah, I was completely
Jordanna,
there.
you too? Well, you were up for an award, Jordanna.
Yeah. I was patiently waiting for all the announcements. It was so good.
Yeah. What did you think then, George?
Oh, I just loved it. I loved. Do you know what I really liked about it was the accessibility for everybody. Because we're not always in a financial situation where we can go to the Grosvenor House and we can buy bottles of wine at 100 quid and we can get a 250 quid ticket. And I get it, and it's the best night ever. And I go to the British Hairdressing Awards regularly, and I get such a buzz because it's such a good night. But I really appreciated the accessibility of having it online and people that are not in that position to get those tickets. I think it was great. I think it was just like a really great celebration of our industry, to be honest.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Becky said it felt like we were there. And I have to say, I was just blown away. And I know Jane Lewis-Orr, she watches the show. So congratulations to you, Jane, for putting that awards night on. And, to create still that magic and to see people winning the awards on the night, Jordanna, was brilliant as well. I love that.
Yeah, and it just shows how... Oh, sorry, Jordanna. Sorry. Go on.
Go, Jordanna.
It was really good, and they also sent out to the finalists. They sent out these boxes of like champagne, and we had bunting and balloons, and so that we could make like a nice backdrop for when we were tuning in. But it was really nice. People had their dogs in the frame and their partners and champagne, and it did feel like a bit of a community, even though we couldn't see and touch each other.
Yeah, and Ryland was absolutely brilliant, wasn't he? I think hosting it, his humour is just superb. Because he was a hairdresser as well. Did you know that?
Yeah. I did actually. Bella.
Yeah, so I think he gets that. And again, congratulations to all your finalists, and also you, Jordanna. I was rooting for you, Daryl. Congratulations for you for being a finalist. I thought that was absolutely brilliant for you to see you win there. So really, really good. But look, guys, we have our very first guest live, no video, live, coming onto the show. And between us all, we sat around during the sort of lockdown as we've been planning, hence why we've been away for the period of time that we had. We've got new look, we've got hair coming into the show, and we said, Georgia, we said we want to bring somebody really special on for the very first show. And what was the name that came up?
Mark
Maciver.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you guys are in for an absolute treat. He is such an incredible motivator. His client list is incredible. He's a barber. He's just inspirational. So we're going to be bringing Mark on any moment now. But before we do that, going to give you a taste to the man himself before we bring him out of the green room. Here's a little soundbite.
Morning, Insta! Yes, I am back! know what the slip was lost. 4:49 a.m. My first class at 5:15 a.m. But I'm here, ready for work.
is. Come on, round of applause. Mark. Oh, we love that video. So good. Great to have you here, Mark. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me on. I mean, it's an honor to be on in the first one on, the new series.
Oh, it was just so easy, wasn't it, Jordanna, to bring somebody like Mark on? I mean, what a guy you are, Mark. I mean, look, just give everybody an overview briefly to who you are, because some of it, may think, well, who is this Slider Cuts?
Well, essentially, I'm a barber at his heart. That's what I do. I cut hair, but I also do other things. I do public speaking. I'm an author. I've written a book. I'm a mentor, so I mentor quite a few people, as well as like young people in the area and kind of other businesses as well. I guess, sometimes I'm an entertainer on Instagram.
Nah, you're not. Shy reserve. But we actually done a podcast, Jordanna, with Mark, and one of the things that actually came over was you actually talk of saying you were quite shy initially, weren't you, Mark? And, how you had to deal with that.
Yeah. So there was a stage about 10 years ago when I was really shy of the camera. And it's funny, because when I was younger, I wasn't, but then something happened as I got older and it just went. And my wife used to be like, why don't you do stuff like, I'll get invited to do things, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to do it. I don't want to be on camera.
When did you first come aware of Mark, Georgia?
Do you know what? I watched the Creative Head documentary that you did. I think it was, I would say, earlier this year or last year, and it was just about loads of London businesses. And it was me, wasn't it, Dom, that actually mentioned Mark to you in the first place. And I said, you've got to look at this guy. He's like, his whole outlook on life and what he's doing and how he talks with such passion. For me, it was just really inspirational, and just from that moment on, I really started to take note of you. And that was before I even knew that you were doing celebrities' hair or anything like that. I am very passionate about my industry and about my job, and when you speak, I feel your passion. So for me, that was very important to kind of follow you and get you on and sort of mention you to Dom, because it's a hard slog, and to be so passionate is a really important trait, I feel.
Yeah. Well, what Lynette just said here, Mark, she said your smile is contagious.
That's good.
But actually, I'm picking up on that. You won't mind me saying, because you said about your teeth, didn't you? Actually, when you were younger, though, you actually had a bit of a thing going on there.
Yeah, so the size of my teeth now are the size of my teeth when I was like 8 or 9. So I grew into my teeth. So they used to be almost too big for my face. But I was always smiling back then as well. So, and I couldn't close my mouth back then either, because my teeth were so big and they stuck out. So I grew into my teeth. So yeah.
Come on, Jordanna, how nice are Mark's teeth?
Your gnashers are really shining bright tonight, Mark.
Thank you.
He's bad. Well, look, Mark, I want you to explain, because we saw in that intro video to you the good morning.
Yeah.
Now, just explain to everybody about this. And I'm going to just show a clip of your good morning videos here. What's going on with your good morning? Shall we play that, Mark? So let's play it, and then you could talk us around it. So here's a little trailer of your good morning.
Morning, Insta. Yes, I am back in the barbershop. My gloves are on, the cupboards are warmed up, the TV is on, and the shutters are up. So, let's go. Morning, guys.
Love it.
So what is all that about? Just explain to everybody what's going on there.
Well, you know what? Initially, when I started doing my morning intros, it was me showing people how to start your day, or how I start my day, should I say. And I want to show people that when I start work, or when I'm ready to start work, isn't the time that I start work. Because I'm just trying to teach people about lateness. So it's like, if you start work at 9 o'clock, you should be ready. And these are all the things that go into preparing the day. So, starting up your clippers, putting up the shutters, switching on the TV, switching on the sound system, getting your clothes on, whatever it is. And then it's like, it's 10 to 9, my first client's at 9 o'clock, I am ready for work now. And I was trying to show people that that's how you get ready. You're supposed to be ready before your first client. Then over time of me constantly doing it, it just kind of progressed, and then more energy came into it, and it just became this kind of like ritual, you could say, that I was doing every morning. And then I had this kind of thing where I was like, you know what, start your day the way you need to go on. So I was like, you know what, I'm starting my day, happy. I'm starting my day with energy. I could have come from home and maybe, I could have had an argument with my wife. Like, anything could have happened, but it's kind of like, you know what, let's, almost like, let's reset. Let's start good now. So, get the energy up, get, the happiness up, and let's, continue that way. And then, this is where it's at right now. So I just, whatever the time is, whenever it is, that's how I just start my day for work.
That's interesting point. What about you, Jordanna? How do you start your day?
Well, I'm just listening to Mark and nodding away, because the mornings that I have that start well like that, and where you do give yourself that extra leg room and time to kind of have your coffee and slowly start the day and then find that energy. But I must say, it's not all the time that I start like that, because there are times where I'm like, stuck in traffic and late, and I run through the door, put my bag down, and straight into a set of highlights. But there is so much to be said about just giving yourself that extra hour in the morning, isn't there? But Mark, I've got a question for you. Were you always like that, with that positive energy, with that upbeat, infectious personality? Or was it something that you grew into or was inspired by from someone else in your life?
I think I've always been kind of a positive, kind of like happy guy. To be fair, yeah, I've always been happy, because I remember even the barber shop I used to visit when I was a kid, they used to give me the nickname Smiley, because they're like, you're always smiling, like, why are you always smiling? And I remember growing up always getting asked that question, like, why are you always smiling? Like, why are you always smiling? So I think I've always had it. And I think I've always had it because I've always had this thing where I've always looked at people that were in worse situations than me. So that's always made me grateful for life. And I just can't actually help it. So it's not something which I've, trained myself. It's just like, I always seem to have my mind on the people that are doing worse. So, I could lose 100 pounds and I'd be like, I've lost 100 pounds. But then straight away, what would happen? I'd be like, well, there's people who've never had 100 pounds to lose. Or, there's people which have lost a lot more money, or someone who's lost their house. And then I start thinking all these things, and it's like, oh, you know what? Yeah, it's not that bad. So I seem to always just have this thing to always look at people which are in worse situations. So that makes me grateful for where I'm at.
Yeah, that's great. George, morning, are you somebody that jumps out of bed? Because family-wise, I know, Mark, you're a big family guy. George, I know, with your family. How do you combine that yourself, the salon, all that aspect into your life?
Well,
is it frantic in the morning?
I have three espressos, and then I have 3 fags, and then I start taking on day, basically. And then I start with the positive energy after I've had my nicotine and after I've had my caffeine. But yeah, no, in all seriousness, it is quite structured. I think you've got to be, haven't you? When you own a business, you guys will agree, you're all business owners. You've got to motivate people. You've got to motivate yourself. So in all seriousness, yeah, things are quite, I'll get up quite early, about 5:30, and then get going. But yeah, I do think it is important to have, mindset. I think mindset really matters, especially if you're trying to do 1,000 things at once.
What I'm curious to learn about, Mark, as well, are we okay to just mention that you do some celebrity clients?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Is that okay? Because let me just ping this up again. Look, if any of you guys are watching and have any questions for Mark, drop them in the comments, because we will put your questions to Mark live, okay? And Mark has huge amounts of experience, and what a profile he's got in the industry. How many followers, by the way, on Instagram, Mark?
Pardon?
How many followers on Instagram?
I think about 91,000.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Yeah. What was you going to say, George, just before we show these images?
I wanted to know, it's one of my questions actually, like, how did you get into the celebrity, like, styling and cutting? Was it something that happened accidentally? Was somebody recommended to you? Because you really, as I noticed, like, you do a lot of celebrity people, but you're such a humble business owner, and your barbershop is just it just seems like a place where everyone just comes and chills and hangs out. So how did that come about? Did you want to be a celebrity stylist, or is that just something that happened?
You know what? It's something that just happened. You know, like imagine trying to make something sweet and then you put all the ingredients of a cake in, but you're not actually trying to make a cake. But then a cake came out and it's like, you know, this is nice. So I kind of knew all the ingredients and I kind of knew the recipe of how to get it, but it wasn't the thing I was going for. I was just trying to do good haircuts and offer a good service and put myself out there as much as possible. And this is this is actually what came from it. So yeah, no, I was never ever chasing celebrities. I was just chasing trying to run a good business and trying to be the best barber I could and get myself everywhere. And then what happened from there was, you know, celebrities kind of caught on to that and then they started contacting me for haircuts. But yeah, no, I was
Look
not
at
like
them
So
haircuts
like,
there, Mark.
how did you feel that day when like Stormzy rang you up and said, "Yeah, I want a haircut"? I bet you were like, "Oh my god."
yeah, it was it was a weird one because Stormzy was one of the people who I did want to cut though. Out of all celebrities, he was one of the few people I wanted to cut. And it wasn't because he was like, oh, he's a celebrity. It was more so because I kept seeing his haircut and I just felt like I could do him. And no offense to his previous barber, but I just felt like his haircut was being done wrong. And I thought, you know what, I could do him a better job. You know, no offense, literally, to his other barber, and that's why I wanted to cut his hair. But the other ones just came, to be honest. Some of these other ones, to be very honest, I could have lost them. I look back now, I think I could have lost them in the beginning stages because, like, I'm not going to name who they were exactly, but some of the people I cut initially, I turned them away. And you know, some of the biggest ones as well. Initially, I turned them away. I was like, you know, can you come cut my hair? No, sorry, I haven't got the time. And then, you know, I remember one of them. Then, you know, a while later, they came back. You know, like I'm not going to say the names because I feel like I'm trying to be like, oh, throw shade on them, which is not the case. It was just literally
Everybody's sitting there now, Mark. Go on. Come on.
Off camera,
I can't lie. You know, we're all sitting there thinking it. But I know, please don't.
Camera, I'll tell you
we don't want to riff.
on camera. You know, because these clips will get cut and someone will go make a story out of it, like, oh, you turned away, what do you call it, and make it something like sinister or something it isn't. You know, it's literally just to do with timings and just how focused I was on just the business more than the people. And that's why when you look at my Instagram, these people have come and they fit into like the business model of what I'm doing. So people say to me, oh, it's so cool that they let you film them. But part of the reason why they let me film them is because they have come from a place of viewing me online as well and seeing what I'm doing and seeing that regardless whether you're a celebrity or you're not, I film people. So if you look at my Insta stories every day, whether I cut a celebrity this week or not, you'll still see Insta stories every day of the regular, you know, person, whoever they are, so that when celebrities come in, they kind of fit into that. And as I said, because they've seen that anyway, it's not like my camera's always down and then suddenly a celebrity walks into the room and then I pick up my camera and I'm like, hey, let me put you on the camera on my phone. It's like, no, they just fit into what's already going on.
Yeah, I've just got this comment here, Mark. Charlotte just says you're an artistic barber, not just a barber. Would you go with that?
Sure.
Are you? I mean, obviously, the artwork that you're doing right there with that clipper work, does that tell me that you are actually naturally a very good artist, so you can sit there and sketch away?
No, I'm actually a rubbish artist, to be honest. I'm actually one of the
isn't that bonkers? You'd think you'd have to be really good when you see. So let me just peek that image up again. Where is it? Let's get. Is it that one? I mean, no, there was in the video. That was one of your easy ones, really, isn't it? But I think it's, you know, to be able to do that. And I'll be interested actually from the girls here. Can you do barbering, Jordanna, to that sort of level?
Absolutely not.
But can you do decent barbering?
I cut men's hair. That's what I say. I cut men's hair, but I don't do skin fades. I do fades, but they're not skin fades. But yeah, it's a different skill set, and unless you're practicing it day in day out, the muscle memory just won't stay with you, and that's why being so niche and specialist in that field is important, I think.
What about you, George?
Yeah, I do men's hair, but I wouldn't classify myself as a barber at all. I'd say
When
I'm a
did your
hair cutter, not a dresser.
when did your
That's
career
the
start to
difference.
change, Mark? When did you think to yourself, look, I'm going from being a regular kind of barber to actually a point where you're thinking my career is starting to change here?
Do you know what? Because it feels like it was such a, it's not slow progress, but that's like brick by brick kind of thing. Do you know what? No, actually, I remember a moment actually in 2017, and it was November 2017, where a bunch of things happened at the same time, which made me be like, wow, something's happening. Like, no, there's two moments. So yeah, it's 2014, February/March 2014, and then there's November 2017, which were two big moments. The first one was I started posting a lot on Instagram, and that was like February, March 2014. I literally just came back from LA and I bought myself a new camera, and I said, you know what, I'm going to post 3 to 5 haircuts every single day. And the reasoning behind that was I said, you know what, anybody can post one good haircut a week. Because, if you're cutting throughout the whole week, you must do one good haircut. But I thought, you know what, if people see me posting 3 to 5 pictures a day for haircuts I've done that day, they will get that I'm consistent with what I'm doing. So it's not just like a one-off. So I started doing that. And after like a few weeks or months, something like that, I remember more and more inquiries started coming in. And then people kept on talking about it, coming into the barbershop, being like, you know what, I keep seeing you on my feed. And random people kept on saying, I'm seeing you on my Explorer page all the time. Like, you're really going for it recently. And I remember that was a moment where people were talking a lot just because I stepped it up so much. And then that's when I started getting a lot more inquiries, even though I was already a busy barber. So I was already a busy barber. I was very almost fully booked kind of thing. But I just started getting so much new customers and just people just talking about me. So that was the first moment where like, okay, for barbering itself, I was stepping up and I was kind of, you could say, going to the next level with barbering. And then 2017 in November, what happened from then, at the end of November, was I got asked to be in a Nike advert. Then at that same time, I got asked to be in a Facebook advert and also to be part of this Facebook campaign where they put me on billboards all over the UK, and I was on the TV
I
advert.
bet you hated that, didn't you? It must be. But I mean, it's just incredible. And I want that to be inspiring words. And I know we're going to just cover in a bit about how you're motivating, younger people as well. I'd like to just touch upon that. We've got some great questions. I'm going to just pick up on some of these questions in a minute, Mark, if that's okay. But look, let's just check out another video of you, just giving a little bit of advice. This is the sort of stuff that you will see on Mark's Instagram, slider cuts. So let's have a look.
Do not turn away new clients. And some might say, well, why would I turn away a new client? Well, this is what happens. You've been working the whole day, and it comes to 6 o'clock and it's closing time. And somebody walks through that door and says, can I get a haircut? Someone you don't know, someone you've never cut before. And you're like, ooh, it's the end of the day, I'm bouncing. You've turned away a new client. And you're someone who hasn't got any clients yet, or you've got a few, or you're in a place where you're trying to build up a client list. And I know many people like this. I've seen them, I've spoken to them, and I'm like, why are you turning away new clients then? How are you going to build up a client list if you don't take on new clients? And some of these people are kind of like, they'll take on new clients kind of like in their working hours, but they're not kind of like stretching themselves to get new clients. And I'm just like, well, you're not grinding then. You're not really that willing. You're not really that hungry for it. So my first tip is don't turn away new clients. Even if you've been cutting hair the whole day, if a new client comes in, that's a potential client, a potential return client for you. So take on that client. If a client says to you, hey, can you come in early to cut my hair? You don't know them, or you've never cut them before, even if you have cut them before, come in early. Make that person your client. Turn that person from a customer of the shop to your client. And to do that, you have to sometimes go above and beyond and stretch yourself outside of your hours.
Love that. Do you agree with that, Jordanna?
Absolutely, and I was just nodding there because I do that with my clients a lot, and there are people that don't, and that's fine because I think there's space for both types of people. But if you are trying to go ahead of or excel in various areas of your career, I think you need to do it. You just need to graft, don't you? And it's true, you build a rapport because they end up thinking, oh, thanks so much for coming outside your hours, and then they're more loyal to you in return.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you see some of these comments coming in, guys, by the way? Because
Yeah.
I'd love to. I wouldn't mind you just picking some of these up, actually, George. You can maybe read this out. So we've got some questions we want to throw at Mark.
Here's
Let's
one.
have.
What do you think? What do you think, Mark, is the 2021 hair trend in barbering?
Oh, good question. Who's that?
Great question. That's a great question. I don't know. Are we going to be open in 2021? It's a question.
So that came in from Martine. Yeah. So what do you think is the two? Are we going to see longer hair back in men's hair?
Yeah, you know what? That's the trend actually. What did just remind me? That's the trend because that's what's been happening from now. So everybody's got some type of braid, some type of twist, some type of dread. Like everybody seems to, especially in the black hair world, everybody's having long hair now. That's the trend within that. But what's funny is what I found in the barbering kind of like European white world in a sense is they're all going for the short styles now. They're all going for the proper fades. So maybe next year, maybe they might, if there's another lockdown, especially and hair starts growing out, maybe they might start saying, you know what, maybe it's time to bring back the long hair styles.
Is it with black guys? Could we see the afro coming back? Sorry, George. I just could we see the afro?
You know what? If the right people wear it, then you can see it. It's all down to like celebrities because now all the rappers have long hair and the twists and the braids. So now then it kind of like trickles down to everybody else doing it. They're all about who's doing it. You know, if the popular rapper does it, or actor, whoever it is, then you'll see it happening along this. I guess on the streets, basically.
George, you were going to just say something.
No, I think the longer hair thing, it is a trend, but I think it's a trend that's been forced. I mean, because of the situation that we've been sort of featured with. Like, I would never have thought to grow a mullet if it hadn't have been for a pandemic. I'd have been carried on having a one back and side with a little.
How is your mullet going, by the way? I haven't caught the back of your.
It's going all right, mate. It's getting there.
It's doing all right. Yeah, it's coming on.
Looking more and more like Tiger King every single day.
I've got to ask you as well, Mark, while we're on barbering, it has become huge, not just in the last year, 2 years, but 10 years, 15 years. What's your take on the overall barbering industry? What's your view of it?
My view on it, I've got so much views on it. It's a business, it's a valid business that should be almost like on a level of like hairdressing, what it has been. I think prior to the moment we're kind of in now, it has been looked down upon. It's not really been respected. But to be honest, right now, I'm seeing it getting a lot more respect. I'm seeing people, starting to see it as a real profession and a craft and a art. So yeah, it's but for me, I've always seen it as that. To be very honest, I've always seen it as that, and I guess that's how my business managed to excel because I treated it like that and I saw it like that. It meant that those which weren't taking it serious, maybe because other people were looking at it as something not serious, or they were looking at it that way, didn't take it serious. It meant that someone like me looking at it like that kind of came and excelled.
Yeah, I've just seen a message there from Lee. So he keeps losing sound. Let us know if anybody else is losing sound, or if that's just Lee and his ears. Great advice. We just had that come in from one of our viewers. They said, look, great advice. There were some other questions just up here before we go into our salon box, which I'm looking forward to sharing. Go on,
so
please, George.
Somebody asked, how long do you take for a typical men's trim appointment? Like, what do you book out, Mark?
30 minutes. That's my average haircut, 30 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. What
do you charge for that? Yeah. Make a wish. We both said that, Jordanna. Yeah. How much money are you making from that?
£30.
Okay, so £1 a minute.
Yeah.
I think that's for... Colouring, does that happen in your world?
Oh, in my world. You know what's funny about that? I'm actually a qualified colour technician, but I don't know how to do colour.
Oh, wow.
So I actually need to go. I need to go learn. I did the course and I kind of crammed it, and also, like, no offense, I just don't think the person who was teaching me, just did the best job with me. So, yeah.
So Paul's just come in here Paul's just come in with a comment. I think the industry has two sides. To me, a barber is always someone who is very skilled and part of the community. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It did get for me, there was a point in the world of barbering where it did seem a little bit it was a dated thing, and then suddenly it'll all be beards, tats, and everything come about. Mark. But I think for me, what really has inspired the world of barbering comes from black barbering. You know, the stuff that you guys have been doing for a big period, sharp lines, that, you know, the fades. I think that had a big inspiration. I mean, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think it definitely has, because I started seeing a lot of people, like, there was a lot of, like, we started getting a lot of white clients who wanted fades and were saying that their barber couldn't do it. Then I started thinking what probably happened was, you know, then their barbers or hairdressers were looking at that and being like, actually, I need to learn how to do that. And I used to get loads of messages as well in my inbox from, you know, white barbers or hairdressers saying, you know what, can you teach me how to fade or do it like that? And I guess, you know, they've gone onto courses or YouTube or whatever it is, right? And they've learned, because as the trends happen, you've got to kind of follow them. So likewise, what's happening now, especially even in the black world, is a lot more black barbers know how to use scissors, you know, on European hair, on Asian hair, which we couldn't do before. It was like, no, we don't touch that. We don't do that. So there's this kind of like merge that is happening where it's like, well, everyone now starting to pick up the skills, which traditionally was kind of like, we don't do. We don't, you know, some people like, we don't do short fades. No, that's not us. And then us is like, we don't do the scissor stuff. No, we don't do that. And now it's like, it's actually a great place to be, because all of our skills are actually broadening, and now we're becoming more full at our craft.
Yeah, brilliant. Look, we're going to go, before we go into Salon Box with the two girls, and there's just one question here that I'm going to bring up. It's from Martine again. She's putting some good questions. What do you think of men's perms on young men?
How young are you talking about?
Well, let's say teenagers, because I've seen a big thing with teenagers wanting perms, young lads who are having perms.
I actually had a perm when I was a kid. You know,
No way.
Yes, when I was, I think the first time I did it, I was probably about 15, maybe 14, 15. But the first time I did it, my mom saw my hair as soon as I'd done it, and she was not happy, and she made me cut it off straight away. She was just like, no, take it all off. I had to cut all my hair off. So then I had to kind of wait till I was a little bit older, when she couldn't really tell me to cut my hair off. Like, you know, like 16 years old. I was like, you can't, I'm in college. You can't really tell me I'm in college now, so you can't tell me no. Then I had that for a few years. So it's kind of.
I don't want to terrify teenagers around the world of having perms, but I had a perm when I was a teenager.
There you go.
That's enough to put you off a lifetime. Do not have perms. Yeah, I had some quality perms. Yeah.
One question for you, Mark. You've written a book. Tell us about the purpose behind writing the book and what the book's about.
Okay, yeah, the book's called Shaping Up Culture, and it came from me actually just looking around myself and just looking at things I thought people were doing wrong, especially around business. Seeing loads of businesses close down, especially small businesses in my community, and I was just like giving advice to people in the barbershop. And I said, you know what? All this stuff I'm saying, I kind of want to put it in a place where it's there for people to access whenever they want. So I started off with doing YouTube talks, and they were called Shaping Up Culture, and I was doing blogs. Then I said, you know what? Let's just write a book. And I pitched it to a publishing company, and they took it on, and we made it into a book. And the whole purpose was just kind of like just teaching people the basics of business. Because even when I started looking at business books, so what's funny is before I actually wrote this book, I had never even read or one business book. And the purpose around that was I didn't want to be influenced by anybody else's opinion. But what I did know from hearing kind of business people talk and hearing people talk, I was like, they always seem to have this assumption that people are already in a good position to start business. And they never really talk about the basic 5 steps. What about if you have bad credit already? How do you get money? What about if your social credit's bad? What about if you haven't got the idea of how you set up a limited company? What about all of these basic things they're just skipping? It's like, what about if you don't know these things? How do you go about it? So I said, you know what? I think there needs to be a book one that actually addresses those first 5 steps and doesn't make the assumption that you're already in a good position, or you have a rich auntie or mum or dad or cousin who can lend you money, or you've got business acumen already. So I wrote this book just to say, you know, especially for small businesses and people that might be starting small businesses, what are the things you should be doing and how the steps you should be taking to start business. And then there's a little bit of self-development in it as well, if anyone's read it.
Yeah, Colette says no one talks the real pitfalls. I think that's very true, isn't it? You know, sometimes we have to learn about that. And you actually really seen what resonated with me when we interviewed you, Mark, was, you know, when you've got clients, you're always really inquisitive into people and how they've got to where they've got to. Just talk us on a little bit on that.
Yeah, so I learned a lot of my business through, watching people and just having conversations. The beauty of being a barber, everyone opens up, they tell you all your secrets, So I just remember having these successful clients, whether it's musicians, entertainers, business owners, and I'd always ask them the same question of like, how did you get to where you are, and how are you sustaining it? And, what will happen if like this all goes away? And I remember, speaking to people, let's say like Tiny Temper, Jimmy, who owns like Disturb in London, Anthony Joshua, and just loads of other people as well, the person who owns the cafe, the person who has the clothing line, like just asking them, how are you doing what you're doing? Like I want to know the back end stuff. I didn't care about the glitz and the glamour. I want to know the back end stuff. And I remember even like a few months ago, Tiny Temper was on radio and he was doing an interview and he was saying, yeah, one of the things he liked about me cutting his hair was the conversations we had, because I asked him questions that nobody else asked him. He said, I was always talking to him about business and like the back end things. And it's like, that's what interests me because I'm in it as well. And also you teaching me this allows me to teach others as well. So yeah, I learned a lot from my clients.
I get that completely. I think that's where you learn so much, by just asking those questions, how they've got to where they are, and there's so much gold in all of that, Mark. But look, loving having you on here. There was a question Lynette just mentioned to her colleague, Luke Tom. You must get this book, would help you so much. Where can you get this book?
Oh, Amazon. If you just go onto Amazon and you type in Shaping Up Culture, you'll get it. It's on my website, but literally the stock I've had is actually sold out, so more's coming in the next week and a half. But yeah, you can go to Amazon, just type in Shaping Up Culture, or if you want to buy it in a week or two, then you go to my website. But as I said, right now Amazon has stock.
I'm just going to pick up. Go on, sorry, Jordanna, you go.
How long did it take you to write that book, Mark?
It took me a few months, but it took me, you could say, 2 years, because I started off doing the blogs. So I was doing all the talks, then I was doing the blogs as well. So when I came to rewriting the whole book, I already had the information. So even though it took me, let's say like 2-3 months, I already knew what I was talking about. I had I wrote a few new subjects, chapters, but I already had the subjects. I already had the information. It was just in a place where I could now refine all of that information. So yeah, it took me a few months, but at the same time, the idea and everything like that, you could say, took me a year and a half, 2 years.
And I've seen Dan, our producer, has just put in the link for your book. I'm assuming it must be quite a lucrative little side business of yours if you're already sold out for Amazon. So can we get a copy before Christmas?
And signed,
yes, you can. You know what? It's not lucrative, and let me tell you the reason as to why. Because when I wrote the book, even when I spoke to the publishing company, my whole aim was I'm targeting this book towards young people and smaller business people. So I even said I don't want it to be expensive. The book costs £5. I said, I'm not even doing this book to make money. To be very honest, I don't actually care about the money. Even when they offered me even an advance, I said I didn't take the advance. I just said it's not about the money for me. I know people say this to sound good, but I'm not making that much of each book. How much can I really make from £5, as well as there being a publishing company and they're taking a cut on all these different people? So
he's just got him pulled hard in the back of his Ferrari.
I think it's great. I'm fortunate because I make money from my business, cutting hair. So that allows me to kind of do some of these things which I actually want to do. And that's the fortunate position I'm in. And that's why I focus so much on making sure that my business is running right and my business is making me money, so that I can now do some of these things. So I do loads of talks. I do loads of talks for free. I give my time out.
That's really great. And I think that's another point when we're talking about the BHAs, everything accessible. I think it's really good as a person to make things accessible. It's one of the reasons why I did online education as opposed to going and educating in salons, just because not everyone can afford it. You've got apprentices, you've got people that are struggling, small businesses. So I think that's a really amazing quality of yours, Mark, to be honest.
Thank you.
May, you're an absolute. Mary just put in here, you are literally so humble. I could listen to you all day. Can we be friends? And I'm sure she'd say the same about you, Mark. Thank you. You left me hanging a bit there for a second. But no, I will grow up one day. Sorry. Carolina, she just said, I love your drive and inspiration. Absolutely. Martin, you have great questions for you tonight. I like this real talk. Sounds good, guys. Thank you. No, honestly, well, Mark is, just a beautiful human, Mark. And that's what I thought when I interviewed you. You really are a wonderfully inspirational person. We're going to go into just a few words about how you're really keen in motivating youth and your community. But we're going to let you have a break. We're going to just all go into the green room because we're going to go into the very first of our I decided on this name about 2 hours ago, Salon Box, all right? And this is going to be a new feature of the show. It's just real time in the salon. And I'll let Georgia, you just sort of introduce us into this.
So yeah, basically, me and Jordanna, I've lost my microphone now. The hitches. Me and Jordanna, basically, Jordanna did my hair in her salon, and it was lovely. And we just generally talked about the things that we've missed as being a hairdresser. Those embarrassing times with clients or when an appointment hasn't gone right. And it's really just quite an honest insight into, do you know what, it's nice as a business owner to go into another business and get your hair done and then you don't feel bothered. So really that's the idea behind it. And just to have another genuine conversation with another business owner in a different area about everything that's going on at the moment. And that's it.
Let's go to it.
Hey guys, so it's Georgia and Jordanna from The Hair Show. It's been ages and I'm ready for my freshen up.
So we are here today in Kensington at Cabela, and I'm really excited to do Georgia's hair. I hope she's not too much of a fussy client because we all know what we're like as hairdressers. So let's get going. Right, George, let's have a look at your roots. How long's it been?
A long time, and I'm very grey.
Very, very grey, hun. It happens to the best of us.
Always grey.
So, target is, we want to match what we've got, because it's lovely against the skin tone. I would say it's a base 7 or an 8. Are you happy to go with that?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, it's definitely washed out slightly, so.
Yeah? So, Weller colours are a little bit more copper, so we might have to add a little bit of mixed tone in. So, we'll probably work with the 843.
Okay.
With a little bit mixed tone, hun.
045?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Are you a fussy client, George?
Yeah, I think I am actually. I am a pretty fussy client. My pet hate is when people get like colour on somebody's forehead or neck. I hate that. But yeah, I am quite fussy, I think.
And who normally does your hair?
So a combination really, but generally my guy Luke will do it at work and he does a really good job. But normally I'll just do the colour myself because I think when you're a business owner, you get affected with time, don't you? I actually thought when I had a salon that I would probably get my hair done more than I ever have done, and it's quite the opposite.
It is the opposite, isn't it? What's the weirdest thing that a client's ever done in the chair?
I've had one client very drunk before. And then I've had one client fall asleep while I've been putting her foils in her hair.
Oh, really?
Like full on fall asleep.
How did you deal with the drunk client?
Worked as quickly as possible. And then decided that we would assess that situation in the future. What about you?
I've had a few clients hum in the chair, which really puts me off when they're humming. I've had clients like look me in the eye when I'm shampooing them, which creeps me out a bit. I've actually, when I was first a junior, working at a salon called Joe Hansford, I was shampooing this teenage boy and he got an erection.
You are joking.
Yeah.
Have you had many clients do a runner?
Yes, not mine, but my team have, particularly on a Sunday. They get the full works done, then they go to the reception desk and go to pay and say, oh, I've forgotten my card, but here's my purse. Just hold on to my purse, I'll just grab my card from my car. And then the purse is just a fake, just a a cheap empty purse that they've bought from H&M.
You can't believe that, can you?
It's disgusting. It's so sad. My team have been like, that's 5 hours of bleach work I've just done. So bad.
So bad. Can't believe the cheek of it.
George, how do you cope with 3 kids, the hair show, the salon, and then all the extra education work that you do? And
I have one thing, and it's called Dave, and he's really good. I think everybody needs a strong relationship unit if you're going to go out and do all these kind of things and try and build your career.
So you think if Dave didn't help you manage your social media and all the admin,
I definitely don't think I could do it.
would you have to employ someone, do you reckon?
Yeah, 100%. What about you?
Um,
You're busy as well.
I am. That's why I think I could never have kids. But I'd love to. But yeah, the last 10 years I've always thought I'd be awful because I wouldn't be able to do 2 things at once. I can barely cope with a dog.
Yeah, but then the thing is you decide that you have kids and then decide that you're going to try and conquer the world after. Because I think if you thought about it before, then so many career women wouldn't even have children, or they'd have them a lot later. But people are having children a lot later now.
Yeah. I feel sorry for my parents because me and my 2 sisters just nowhere near having kids, and they're like desperate to be grandparents. And I wish I was a bit like you, where I kind of had kids earlier, so that I can be a young mum. But I know that I'll be one of those old.
I was 25 when I had my first child, and I still think that was probably too young.
Really?
Yeah. But then
And did you plan for the other 2?
No, I didn't plan for any. But you know, we were in a good place. We were in a good relationship, so it was fine.
You're
Yeah.
a very fertile woman, hon. Didn't plan for any.
And I've only ever had sex 3 times. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Sex only 3 times, you lucky lady. I think you're on mute. George.
Sorry, I forgot.
It might-
This new system, it's got me.
I think Facebook have actually muted you because they know what comes out of your mouth at times.
I've been really good tonight, guys. All right, I've been really good.
I love that. Just to explain, actually, many of you may have picked up, because I did, no mask, Jordanna.
Yes, so George and I really wanted to have as much of a normal salon experience as possible, and we wanted you guys to hear our conversation. So we actually took a COVID test, which came back negative, luckily, before we filmed the footage. And the second half of that will be shown next week, guys. So tune in next week for the rest.
Did you all like that, by the way? Is Salon Box here to stay? So the idea with this, by the way, Mark, is Dan's gonna go out with cameras into salons and just get real fly on the wall kind of stuff. Actually get the real conversations between client and hairdresser, barber. I love that, don't you, George? I think it works so well.
Yeah, I think it's really nice. I think it gives a lot of, like I said, business owners, really busy stylists that don't get the chance to get the hair done. I mean, if there's anyone that wants to get the hair done and be on Salon Box, then, you know, get in touch with us and we can possibly put you in a salon where it's going to work out. Like if you admire a stylist and say, for instance, you want to get your hair cut by Mark,
Oh,
real.
she's got a robot in her house.
Mark, I'm just going to butt in there. Do you find it quite therapeutic talking to clients? Because sometimes there's so much energy that comes from them. And for example, I came in to work in a bit of a bad mood on Friday, but my first client of the day just picked me up with her energy, and I ran through like so many different conversations with her, and I came away from that appointment feeling like, wow, I'm so lucky to be in an industry where someone can turn my mood around like that, who doesn't even know me that well, but you can connect and you bounce off their energy. But I really feel like that is such a huge part of our job that we take away, because a lot of the time we're giving and giving and giving, but what's so nice is we're receiving a lot of the time as well. Do you find that from your clients, Mark?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's mutual. Although we're providing a service, so we should be given more. But there's so much I take from my clients. There's so much help my clients have given me, from advice to sometimes you just listen to someone's story and that can just be like, wow, just changes your perspective on the way you're looking at something or the way you're feeling. So yeah, I definitely feel that, what you call it, that's one of the real benefits of the industry that we're in, that, we, whether we want to or not, we connect with people. And I think, as humans, we were meant to connect. So to be put in a job where, even if you don't feel like it, you're forced to connect, I think really can help with whether it's your mood, whether it's, whatever's going on in your head. I think it's definitely a great thing.
And it's funny because when you're sat with someone in the chair, like me and George, obviously we're already friends, but as soon as you're sat in the chair, there's this openness that comes with, being in that bubble of client, hairdresser, hairdresser, client. You know what I mean?
Even though the camera's on.
Yeah. I mean, I forgot that we talked about stuff like that, and I was a bit like, ooh. Anyway, yeah.
No, it's good. Now, before
if the camera was off, it'd have been a lot worse. Let me tell you.
It actually seems really popular. Everybody loves Salon Box. So Salon Box is here to say we're really going to work on that. I think it's great. I've really enjoyed that entertainment. And again, for any of you that are watching, our capabilities are so much greater now. We can do so much more. And next week, we're actually going to have our rock up and share. We're bringing 2 hairdressers on who are going to be demonstrating hair whilst in the green room, back in and out. One of them's here already tonight. Where is she? Emma Marcy. So Emma's going to be coming on to do that. But look, Mark, we're here and just coming towards the end now. Communities, people, family, people around you. How inspirational is having, people like your son, and seeing young people with clippers in hands? You are really into motivating young people, aren't you?
Yes, I am, definitely. That's a big thing, just because there's so much people which we don't realize, and it's only as I got older I started to realize more, that don't have that direct, let's say, inspiration in their household, might be in troubled situations. Like, I think about my school and I look at some of the kids in my school, and now only looking back 20 years later, I'm like, oh, that guy didn't come from like a stable household. That's why he was always acting up. And I could see it now and remember things they said. And because of all those things there, it's like now I'm in a position where it's like, I almost am on the lookout for those things. And it's like, I really want to kind of like engage and connect with those people, especially young people, and kind of give them, not even like a platform, just trying to kind of motivate them. And not only motivate them, because it's all great motivating someone. It's easy, it's free to motivate someone, something like that. But to actually directly engage and try and help in whatever way you can. And obviously I'm one person, so there's only so much people you can actually, impact in a way of like, help, whether it's provide, time and money or whatever it is. But I just feel like the little I can do, I will do. So, that's why I got the runner scheme with the young boys in the barbershop coming in. We pay them money, we teach them basic skills, we mentor them, we try and push them into a certain, whatever career they want to, we kind of help them with that. With the backspace now becoming like more of a women's space, not but kind of more women's space. I want them to take on exactly the same thing and do the same thing with young girls as well. Just trying to use the platform which I have and like the time and the kind of like environment which I have, just to help those who I can.
Love it, Mark. You are. Can I just give you some really good news, by the way, Mark?
What's that?
You are. Let me just have a look. You are £5 nearer your second Ferrari. Tom's just ordered your book, so congratulations.
Second Ferrari.
I love that. Brilliant. Look, Mark,
you.
you are honestly. Wouldn't you agree, ladies? Everybody watching in, that Mark, what a human being. You are so motivational. Where can everybody just find out more on you online if they want to connect with you? Where do they need to go to?
You can go to anywhere. Type in, anywhere on the net, type in Slider Cuts, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, my website, slidercuts.com, Pinterest, whatever it is. I'm on,
and you're all about motivation as well. If people want to work with you till when we come out of this lockdown, which, hey, since we last spoke, we're all nearer, aren't we? Hey, vaccine?
Yeah.
You all in the queue for the vaccine?
Yeah.
Hands up for the vaccine. 2.
I'm not in the queue.
I'm not in the queue.
Come on, we could all. Yeah, but I think. But isn't that great
I'm
news for us all, though? Hey, isn't it, George? I mean, to feel we're getting closer again, aren't we?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I know there's a lot of hearsay about it. I'm going to take it. I'm not going to take it. Whatever people want to do, then they can go for it. But it's just been nice to talk to you tonight, Mark. It's been nice to talk to somebody that's so inspirational and so humble. Like, it's something that the hairdressing industry can lack at the best of times, being so humble and so inspirational. So I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you.
And if you want to listen to the story with Mark, the podcast, I can't remember the number episode. Was it 175? How to Cut It podcast. We have a great interview. Was it that number, Mark? Can you? I bet you can't remember yourself. We'll go for that. Check it out in Mark's there. What you just going to say, St. George? Jordanna, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I'm going to listen to that on my way to work in the morning, just because all the information is fresh in my head, and I do want to know more about your story, Mark. So I'm going to tune in tomorrow.
He's an absolute legend. Well, look, Mark, thank you so much for coming on and being our first incredibly great guest and seeing the car crash behind the scenes and the panic. And I hope you've enjoyed coming on to the hair show tonight.
I've loved it. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. So I will be definitely locking on further. I think this is a great platform. The way you've done it, like it's TV, really. Yeah.
Great, and maybe we can get you doing some hair on here as well. I'd love to see you come on.
And I love salon box as well.
You love what? Sorry.
Salon box.
Oh, do you like salon box? I'm liking the name salon box as well. I tell you, I should get paid for this. Right, Mark.
Should we all, darling?
Should we all? Sponsors, come on, keep the lights on. Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure. You're a delight, and we'll look forward to seeing you at our live The Hair Show in 2021.
Indeed.
Good night, Mark.
Wow,
let's just make sure, let's let Mark go and have a bit of time out there. Wasn't he great? George, do you just look very close up to the screen? Let me ping you, look.
I don't know what's going on with me tonight, mate. 1 minute I'm like close up to the screen, next minute I'm like quarter of the face like this. So teething difficulties, what can I say? It's a new system. We'll get it.
Can you stand up as well, George? You look very low.
Can I stand up?
Yeah, no, not really. You just, there you go. Hang on, there you go.
I'm on
That's
3
better.
pillows here, mate.
So, Jordanna, what did you enjoy talking and having Mark on, our very first guest?
Yeah, he's got a very soothing voice. He talks so eloquently, and it's so unrehearsed, and it's from the heart. I can't wait to tune in tomorrow to his podcast.
Yeah, he's absolutely fantastic. So, look, our first of the show next week, we have the Rock Up and Share. 2 guests coming on to that. Really looking forward to it. So, yeah, let's final words to you two before we say goodbye to you, George.
I just want to wish everyone the best of luck for the rest of December. Obviously, I can't wait to see you all next week and tuning in with the show. But we've got a busy few weeks ahead of us, haven't we? Like, December is already notoriously busy for the hairdresser, but December, after a month of lockdown, I feel sorry for you all. I feel sorry for myself, you know. I'm running in here, getting my stuff down, doing the hair show. But I hope to see you all next week, and good luck with all your clients. And I hope that your business is successful and busy.
Yeah, and what about you, Jordanna? What's your final words to everybody?
Guys, have a good week. Take each day as it comes. There's always going to be problems and challenges, but if you take each day as it comes, I think that really helps. So I wish you all the best, and I'll see you guys next Monday evening. Mwah.
Perfect. Good night then, ladies. Well,
Night.
what an absolutely wonderful. I'm just going to put the ladies into the green room there. They can say what they like then. Let's do that with George. There we go. How good was that tonight? I've just loved the concept of it. I'm just seeing some great comments coming into you all. So let's just have a look at that before we sign out very quickly. Great show. It's been a wonderful news system. Thank you, Sarah. I've missed you guys so much. Well, we've missed you too, Sarah. Thank you. Great show. Good luck everyone in December. Yeah, busy time for us all, I know. But this Monday nights are perfect. Just have a bit of time out, bit of relaxation. If you want to get involved in the show, now is the time. We're not asking for videos to come in complex. If you want to do a live demo in the show, rock up and share with another hairdresser, get in touch. Would you like to come on, be an interview? Give us your thoughts. What would you like to do in the show? It is open to you, our community. We really, really appreciate all of you. And honestly, it's so good to be back. And yeah, we're all back in the salons. Life's starting to feel a bit better again. I'm feeling it. And hopefully you're feeling it. So that is it for this week. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to showcase and shout about the show. Without you, this is nothing. So until then, peace, love and smiles all the way. Goodbye.